Here's the thing. I've been a huge Clint Eastwood fan since I got into movies. I've been into his westerns, all the stuff that he's directed. This whole haul right here was literally a present that was given to me because I was binging everything Clint Eastwood had made. The man has directed 36 movies. 36 freaking movies. I've seen all of them. So believe me when I tell you that I have nothing but respect for the man. And believe me when I tell you that his newest movie is It's dookie. Hey, just because I love a director doesn't mean that I'm gonna yes man them all the way, because, there's a difference between trash movies, those movies that you watch and they infuriate you because of how bad they are. Then there's those movies that are bad, so bad, they're good. Everybody knows The Room, and I know that everybody watches that movie. One of my personal favorites is a movie called The Identical. I try to watch that yearly. It's a tradition. It is a fantastically horrible movie, and I love every second of it. This is the new one. Now, of course, I have to mention, the real acts, because it's based off of a real story, the real soldiers, nothing but respect for them. You gotta understand that. I'm actually, in a sense, promoting this movie for different reasons than other people may, but a lot of people may have not given this movie a chance. Maybe some people weren't even gonna watch it. Maybe some people don't even know about it. If these guys want to become actors, then you know what? I'm going to help them make their coin, help them be able to become the actors they want to be, because I completely endorse this movie 100%, even if it's not because I think it's a masterpiece. But the important part is that the actions they did, their heroic acts, that's commendable. No one is questioning that at all. Movies are a different thing, though. When I say that this movie's so bad it's good, I'm not talking about the terrorist attack that happens. I'm talking about the 90 minutes before the terrorist attack even happens in the movie. I feel like Eastwood was watching Act of Valor one night on TV and went, wow, you know what? I really like this. I should have done it with Sully. You know what? I'm going to do it with the next movie. And that's why he decided to cast the 3 guys who were actually in this event and then make a whole movie about them, even though they've never acted before. And this is their first feature film in theaters. On top of that, the fact that this is a drama and he decided to get comedic actors like Urkel, who's in this movie, shows that the tone was going to be very interesting, especially when you also know that Clint Eastwood only likes doing 1, 2, on a great day, maybe 3 shots, because then he just likes getting things done, going to lunch. And you could tell in this movie, my man's just at an age where he really doesn't care. He's making whatever he wants. He makes movies for America, but at the same time against America. He's the only guy who could do that. The only guy who's talking to a chair when he's out in public. He's a guy who, he's worked with the same crew for the past, I don't know how many centuries. So they're not going to question what he's doing. And because they don't question what he's doing, you got a movie like this. And I highly appreciate that. The moment I knew what I was in for was when the movie begins and we're getting GoPro footage that feels like a vlog of these 3 dudes just driving a convertible into the sunset. And I realized, oh my goodness, we got Identical Part 2. It also didn't help that we started with a flashback with kid actors who, God bless their souls, but that baby an American Sniper did a better job than these kids. One of my favorite scenes in the film, I believe, was adapted from, if you go on your Facebook timeline, all those political posts that you just try to skip from Angry Moms. It's about this principal who pretty much calls in both of the parents, or both of the parents come in together, and they have this debate really about ADD and the kids having to take pills, which of course they retort with, why do they have to take pills just because you don't know how to do your job? And it escalates to this thing where Judy Greer marches out of the classroom. The teacher's there's a statistic for that, and she turns around and, I kid you not, says,
my God is bigger than your statistics.
Did my mom write this movie? I had to check my ticket to see if I was watching God's Not Dead 4, because the first half of this film feels like it was produced by Pureflix. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it having a Christian message. The complete opposite. There is nothing wrong with the movie having a Christian message whatsoever. I just didn't know that Eastwood directed a Kendrick brother. On top of that, the first half wants to be this Christian film to show at youth class, and then the second half, the guys are up in Amsterdam at a strip club. They get drunk beyond belief. They're upskirting this Italian host that it doesn't match. There's a part in this movie that lasts for 20 minutes, which I like to call the Adam Sandler effect, which is where you just go on vacation and then you say you're making a movie so you can write it off in your taxes. We follow these guys just redoing their European vacation to get them into character. No, bro, they're just vlogging it. I'm talking about the camera is jerkier than a vlog. When they're walking down Italy, everybody is looking into the lens of the camera. You can tell they're just out there having fun. There's a scene where they pick up a random chick and then they go order ice cream. Like, it's not in the script. They legit are there wondering what scoop they should get. And I get it. You're building these characters up. But usually what you would do is hire real actors to get, more emotion out of it. And I know that at a certain point it felt like they were trying to do the Slumdog Millionaire thing where you're seeing bits of the life until that event to show how everything in his life led up to it, which, one, copying the narrative from another movie is kind of bogus, but two, half copying it is worse. There's a lot of scenes that you see that are meant to be foreshadowing. Like, there's a bunch of emphasis on this ballpoint pen in a specific scene, how he uses it as a weapon, and they're really focusing in on it. You continuously see this whole situation where the main guy has to knit, and you see it in multiple scenes. Then it doesn't come into play at all. And I love it. Now, sadly, the whole movie isn't bad. There's actually some good parts about it, specifically the train scene. When the train sequence happens, it makes sense why he got those people, because it's not an actor trying to reenact the scene. It is actual people who are in it, the actual heroes just remembering what they did. When he's going towards the terrorist, that is literally him remembering what he did. Balls out, not knowing if the gun was going to work or not, and doing it. There's no suave... whatever James Bond does, when he's coming up to the bad people and he's sneaking up on them looking all cool, these guys are routine. It feels like you're actually there. There's a part where they just bum rush the dude and they Lil B him, and the terrorist cuts up the main guy's neck. And while all that's happening, you're yo, this feels like actual raw camera footage. So Clint Eastwood's experiment works 1000% when that scene happens. However, that happens 90 minutes into the movie. He calls this the 1517 to Paris because that's how many seconds they spent on the train. But like I said, I'm here to promote the movie. I loved this movie, not for the reasons that probably other people did. And I'm not saying it in any disrespectful way. What I'm saying is, for those of you who were going to skip out on this movie completely, watch it. It shows you aspects of the event that I didn't know about. There's actually more heroes than just these three. Specifically, there was a guy named Mark Moogalian, who was a dude who got so impatient because the terrorist was commandoing himself in the bathroom that he went there, knocked on the door, and he was the first person to interact with the guy, completely loaded with guns, and got on top of him. This was the guy who snatched his gun, ran, and he got shot. It's not to take anything away from the three guys, because they are heroes, no doubt about that. But Mark was the first one to interact with the dude. He was the guy who took the bullet that alerted everyone on the train to run for safety. It was that bullet that alerted the three guys who come in to save the day. Bro, Mark should have been on the cover.
He'd said, you're a hero. But I didn't feel like a hero because I thought that the hero gets the guy.
Don't give me that, Mark. You're a true hero. I want the Mark Moogalian feature film. I want the Mark Moogalian limited Netflix series, the manga, the sitcom. This guy didn't even go to the ceremony because he was in the hospital. They should have Skyped him in. Overall, I can't recommend this movie enough. I know there's people who loved it. That's great. I'm happy for you. I loved it as well, just for different reasons, because while, like I said, utmost respect for these heroes and the things that they did, but the movie doesn't do it justice, and that's completely fine. It's still a great movie on its own, and like I've said with previous movies, and like I say with this one, just because a movie is bad, that doesn't mean you still can't have a great time with it. The moment the digital copy of this movie gets released, I'm making an LME breakdown video over on my second channel, and the best way for you to be able to be notified about that, the best way to actually get it early, is to head on over to the ATZ Show Patreon page, where, like I said, you not only get bonus content, you not only get early content, you not only get not safe for work content, but you get it all for just 100 pennies.